Executions, USA, Maryland. I'm originally from the United States and recently visited Baltimore, Maryland. As a result, I decided to delve into the history of capital punishment in the old line state. Capital punishment was abolished in Maryland on May 2nd, 2013. But between 1638 and 2005, Maryland executed over 300 people, either by hanging, by lethal gas, or by lethal injection. Maryland's first execution occurred on June 20th, 1638, when two seamen, Thomas Smith and Edward Beckler, were hanged for sedition, piracy, and murder. The state's last hanging took place on June 10th, 1955, when an ex-convict named William C. Thomas was hanged for multiple offenses: murder, rape, and robbery. Thomas was a man of limited intelligence. Think Jack Lauren and Mickey Feener, whose cases have been discussed on this channel. And he pled insanity, but the jury rejected his plea. The name of Thomas's unfortunate victim was Della Honeyman. Maryland then introduced the gas chamber and executed 4 men by lethal gas between 1957 and 1961. Among them, Leonard Melvin Shockley, who was only 17 years old at the time of his execution for the robbery murder of Sarah Hearn, committed when he was 16, and Nathaniel Lipscomb, a.k.a. the Dawn Killer, a serial murderer who claimed at least 3, and possibly more, victims. Lipscomb would be the last to die in Maryland before the death penalty was paused in the wake of the Furman v. Georgia decision, which rendered capital punishment in the U.S. unconstitutional. The Maryland General Assembly reintroduced the death penalty in 1978, and in 1994 selected lethal injection as the means of execution. This change was due in part to a request by a lawyer to film the gas chamber execution of John Frederick Thanos, sentenced to death for the murder of 3 young people. The lawyer wanted to show that death by lethal gas was cruel and unusual punishment. Instead, the legislators changed the method of execution to lethal injection, and the big needle was given to Thanos on May 17th, 1994. His final words: "Adios." 5 men were to be executed by lethal injection, the last being Wesley Eugene Baker, who died on December 5th, 2005, for killing 49-year-old Jane Frances Tyson in front of her 2 grandchildren. At present, Baker is the last man to suffer the death penalty in Maryland. After 1922, all executions took place in the Maryland State Penitentiary, later known as Metropolitan Transition Center, which is appropriate, as being put to death is quite a transition. The facility saw some 75 hangings, including 12 double and 2 triple hangings. On January 31st, 1930, the rope hanging John Jackson for a double murder broke, and he fell to the base of the scaffold. Badly injured, he was carried by stretcher up the gallows stairs and rehung with a fresh rope, his body still supported by the stretcher. If this is your first visit to the gallows, please consider subscribing. The focus of this channel is on Canadian executions, but I'm willing to look at cases from other jurisdictions. If you live in the U.S. and would like to see your state profiled, Please let me know in the comments below. And remember, as my old Scotch Granny used to say, if you're born to hang, you'll never be shot. Adios.